Hey, what is up, everybody? Michael Crump back here again, talking about the latest and the greatest in PlayStation Homebrew news and much, much more. So today I have a huge update for you, talking about all of the amazing things that's happening in the scene here for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. All of the links for everything I talk about will be in the description below. So there is this new tool that is out, and this tool restores the XMB's option to delete on some PlayStation 4 fake package files. So you may have had a application that you've installed or a fake package that you've installed on your PlayStation 4 and you were not able to delete it. This Homebrew application gives you that option back where that you can go ahead and you can delete it. Now, there is a quick video that the author made showing what the setup looked like. Basically, you run this executable file here. Then you need to punch in your IP address. Once you put in your IP address, again, you will need to be running something such as Goldhen on your PlayStation 4, again, and also allowing the option to connect via FTP. But then once this is finished, this has now identified that there was two games here, which is Age of Wonders, Planetfall, and Far Cry 3, that did not have the proper app.db in order for you to delete it on the system itself. So what this application just did was it just identified it, and then it fixed and uploaded a new app.db. And then if we look at the game here, you can see that now the delete option is back on there again, and you can get rid of this fake package file. Again, this is going to be super helpful if you had a fake package installed that you no longer have the delete option for it. So definitely give this a shot if you're in that situation. Next up, from Lightning Mods, we can see that there was an update here, and it says the new NoBD Toolkit is now available on the Homebrew store. There is this orbis.repair website that you can go to, and then there is this starter guide, and as well, if you need to upgrade or replace your hard disk drive, then you can go here. And then finally, here is the download link over on PKG Zone. Now, if you're wondering what exactly this is, if you head over to the orbis.repair, then you can see for the NoBD starter guide, this is for updating a PlayStation 4 that has no disk drive. And so for those that don't know, if you have a PlayStation 4 that has a broken Blu-ray drive, then it will not update the firmware. And so that's really what this tool is all about. It's allowing you to update your PlayStation 4 to a firmware such as 9.00 with a drive that is broken. Now, there's also this next tool, which is the NoBD HDD guide. So this allows you to upgrade or to make a new hard disk drive with the NoBD Toolkit. And so if we go over into guides here, there is these two guides that you can start with. You can go to the NoBD starter guide, and here gives you a little bit of information such as setup, what you'll need, how to prepare the USB drive, and then backing up your console in case there's some sort of brick, as well as how to load the NoBD payload, and then updating, and then there is some troubleshooting here. Heading back over to the PS4 Orbis repair guides, you can see that there is the NoBD HDD guide. Again, you get setup, some information about WinHACS, which WinHACS is something that I have covered on my channel here before. And then here's the different types of partitions, how to write the partitions with WinHACS, and then the final steps. So definitely something to check out. Obviously, great work here by Lightning Mods. And then I wanted to cover some of the PlayStation 5 price increases. So over on the PlayStation 5 blog, there was this PS5 price to increase in select markets due to global economic environments, including high inflation rates. I thought this was a very odd blog post for Sony to release on their main blog. But if you scroll down into this, it says, the global economic environment is a challenge that many of us are experiencing. We see high inflation rates as well as adverse currency trends impacting consumers and creating pressures on many industries. Based on these challenging economic conditions, Sony Entertainment has made the difficult decision to increase the recommended retail price of PlayStation 5s in select markets across Europe, Middle East, Africa, Asia Pacific, Latin America, as well as Canada. There will be no price increase in the United States. I live in the United States, but I can say that this definitely feels very tone deaf for customers that are outside of the United States. And down below, it has the new retail prices. So for Europe, the UK, Japan, China, Australia, Mexico, and Canada. And it says at the end here, while this price increase is a necessity given the current global economic environment and its impact on our business, our top priority continues to be improving the PS5 supply situation so that as many players as possible can experience everything that the PS5 offers and what's still to come. I don't know, sound off in the comments. What are your thoughts on this blog post? Again, I found it very weird for the official blog to release, but I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts. Next up, our good friend Lappy has released PS4 Explorer 2.0. So it says again, there is not much need for an introduction here. There are many new things and small secrets that I will reveal over the coming days. So here is the new start screen. And if you go ahead and you head over to the Homebrew store and you do a search for it, well, obviously you can find PS4 Explorer 2.0. So again, this was just released today, already has a pretty good bit of downloads, and stay tuned for this week because I will have a video covering PS4 Explorer 2.0, and hopefully you will enjoy checking that out. Next, in a bit of fun news, I saw this tweet that came out from PlayStation-HACKS, and what it was kind of this graph of all of the different types of people that they interact with. So I thought it was awesome, obviously, to see myself on there. But what was even more cooler was being able to see some of the different people that was inside of the PlayStation community and seeing really those friendly faces. Also getting to see who they interact with. So there was a couple of these that came out, at least at the time of this recording. So obviously this one from PlayStation-HACKS. Again, there's my beautiful face. And then there is this other one over here from PlayStation Jailbreak News. And by the way, you should definitely follow these accounts too that I'm listing here. There we go again. I'm in there. Obviously, we got other people in there like Control Execute, Brutal Sam. We've got Lappy over here. We've got Backport. And we've got all kinds of other folks. And then there was finally this one from Chameleon. And again, I'm a little bit further in the list here, but that's okay. But still a lot of really cool and familiar faces. I've always been a bit interested in seeing who other people that's in the PlayStation scene talks to and interacts with. And so maybe I thought you'd be interested in that too. And then next up, I had to mention this, but for the PlayStation Vita, there is this brand new emulator that's out that's called Flycast. And so basically Flycast is a multi-platform Sega Dreamcast emulator. And if we scroll down and look at just some of the supported platforms, you'll see Linux, you'll see Mac operating system, Xbox One, and then that is pretty much it. But at least thanks to this person right here, there is this one that is now out for the PlayStation Vita. Now, this release didn't come with at least some problems. So over here, there was this very controversial decision to add a check on AutoPlugin 2's existence and refuse to boot if installed. And for those of you that don't follow the Vita scene, so AutoPlugin 2 is something that a lot of developers don't necessarily like because you can do things like hog memory. You can also write to a bunch of files and folders, and in just general, there is a lot of beginner developers that have wrote AutoPlugin extensions that really made the Vita work a lot worse than what it should be. So anyway, this developer added in a check to just refuse to boot this emulator if it was there. Now, they did obviously come back and fix this. So you can see right here, it says AutoPlugin is no longer required to be removed. AutoPlugin users will get a disclaimer pointing them where to get assistance for issues caused by the plugin. Now, I did respond as soon as they made this tweet, letting them know, hey, thanks for making this right. Very few people in the scene does this, much appreciated, and you have my support going forward. And I felt it was really important to do that because a lot of homebrew developers make mistakes, but very, very rarely do I see people come back and say, hey, you know what? Actually, I'm going to make this right, and I'm going to do what the community asks. So anyway, hats off to them. And if you are interested in playing the Dreamcast through this emulation program called Flycast, then you can do so. But for the most part, it really only works with a couple of games. Shenmue is one of the games for Dreamcast that works pretty flawless with this. But for the most part, you're not going to really be able to take just about any Dreamcast game, use Flycast, and it would work. So I just wanted to call that out so you don't waste a lot of time right now with it. In the future, I obviously see that this program supported more and more Dreamcast games. And then next up, I wanted to talk a little bit about this story, which is stating RTC Fix for the PS4 who are suffering from the time reset issue. So in short here, if you have a PlayStation 4 and you open it up and you remove the battery that's in there, and maybe you replace it with another brand new battery, put your PlayStation 4 back together again, and even if you're on firmware 9.00, you will have to update the date and the time over and over and over again because it does a sync back to Sony's server in order to get the date and the time, at least initially. So for those of us that haven't had to replace our batteries yet in our PlayStation 4s that were jailbroken, we haven't been hit with this because at least that initial call to Sony has already been completed. So it happened to this person right over here. And what they did was they had to replace their battery and put another battery in, and they were constantly having to enter the date and the time on their PlayStation 4. Now, they looked for a fix. I actually was looking for a fix with them on Twitter, and so was a bunch of other people. And they said, hey, I finally figured out how to fix the RTC of the PlayStation 4. So basically started the WebKit exploit from the browser. They used Goldhen, any version after V2. They pushed the PS4 debug payload. And then they went into the debug settings here, PlayStation Network, NP environment, and set it to SPINT instead of NP. Restarted. They needed to follow the steps 1, 2, and 3 again to exploit the PlayStation 4 system. And then now go to debug settings, system debug network clock, and then turn that on to set time manually. Enable internet, Wi-Fi will do. Go to date and time and click set now instead of setting manually. You can select automatically as well above the set now option. So the result now is the time automatically syncs with Sony's dev server. I think with your current location and time set before. Now you are done. This is a one-time process and no need to worry about pathetic auto update notification of FPKGs and auto firmware update in the background even after reboot. You can stay connected to the internet without turning it off unless Sony turns off the dev server. If you're thinking about updating retail game packages, make sure to install the patch installer and install the retail patch updates from the app itself. It will download through the app, unlike the DNS system, which blocks the whole process. And basically what they were stating down here at the end is that if you do set your NP environment to this SP-int, then you don't have to worry about Sony updates. Obviously, that's optional if you want to keep it at that. There's a ton of videos that actually just shows people to how to do that, just to set it to sp-int in order to not have to fool with some of the DNS settings. So a couple of different options for you there, but at least now it's been documented how to fix the RTC on PlayStation 4 for those that have needed to reset or replace the battery. And then finally here, since I've seen this happen a couple of times, I thought I would mention it here. And it was if you have a PSVR headset and you get the question here, should you update from 1.50 to 5.00? Well, then you can absolutely do that, and you don't have to worry about it actually messing up the firmware or the jailbreak that you currently have on your PlayStation 4. I have a PSVR set and I've updated mine, and there is no problems whatsoever with using the latest firmware of PSVR with a jailbroken 9.00 system. That is going to do it for this one. I will see you on the next one. Michael out.